We've all lived this moment. You meet someone new, or even someone you kind of know. You kick things off with the classic, "Hey, how are you?" followed by autopilot questions like, "So, what do you do?" or "Which team are you in?" After a few replies, silence. That kind of silence that makes you want to disappear into the floor? I've had this happen more times than I'd like to admit, not just at work, but at weddings with cousins I barely remember, or talking to a random stranger in a crowded bar. But what if you could talk to literally anyone and never run out of things to say? The truth is, most of us have some level of social anxiety that fuels that awkward tension. Some people operate at level 1 anxiety, others are stuck at level 99, no cheat codes. I was probably somewhere mid-high on that scale. And over time, after way too many awkward encounters, I forced myself to level up. Eventually, I created 3 simple methods that completely changed how I talk to people, and now I rarely run out of words. Well, at least most of the time. In the beginning, I blamed myself. Maybe I was too shy, too quiet, maybe just not socially built, like others. But I noticed something strange. Around people I'm comfortable with, like close friends, I turn into a completely different person. So I asked myself, how can one human act like 2 different personalities? Turns out, I wasn't broken. I was just undertrained. It wasn't a confidence issue, it was a skill issue. Think about it. Nobody is instantly good at the guitar or fluent in poetry. Speaking to people is the same. It's an art. And like any skill, it can be mastered. So after years of trial, error, and observing smooth conversationalists like a secret spy, I realized there are only 3 things you need to speak to anyone and keep conversations flowing naturally. And the best part, you can start using them right after this. Let's say someone tells you, "I went to play golf last weekend." Now you have 2 options. You can say, "Oh, cool," and then both of you stare into the void. Or you can take control and ask intentional follow-up questions like, "Where do you usually play?" Or, "How long have you been into golf?" That naturally opens more doors like, "Do you compete?" Or, "Are you part of a club?" And here's the secret, you don't even have to care about golf. What matters is that you're showing interest, keeping the energy alive, and directing the flow. A conversation is basically a chain of questions and answers, and the person asking the right questions is usually the one leading it. But this is where people mess up. They ask questions without truly listening. Which brings us to method 2. Most people think that to be better at talking, you just have to talk more. But like many paradoxes in life, it's actually the opposite. To be great at speaking, you need to get great at listening. I mean really listening, not mentally rehearsing your next line while they're still talking. Because when you don't listen, you end up saying things that are random, off-topic, or painfully awkward. But when you truly tune in, you ask better questions, the conversation flows naturally, and both people feel more connected. As the famous saying goes, most people don't listen with the intent to understand, they listen with the intent to reply. Don't be that person. There are enough of them already. Which leads us to the 3rd method, find common ground. This is where conversations shift from effort to flow. When you discover a shared interest, hobby, or experience, it's like unlocking co-op mode in a game. Everything becomes easier and more fun. Sometimes it's obvious, like you both love football. Other times it takes a few questions and a bit of curiosity to find that, "Oh wait, me too," moment. Once you find that connection, steer the conversation in that direction and the momentum will carry itself. Of course, not every conversation will be perfect. Some will die, some will go nowhere, and that's okay. Learn to be comfortable with silence. It's just a moment, not a failure. But if you stick to these 3 methods, ask intentional questions, actually listen, and find common ground, you'll be able to talk to almost anyone. And more often than not, you'll never run out of things to say again. If this lit a spark in you and made conversations feel a little less scary, hit like, subscribe, and stick around, because this is just the beginning of your journey toward effortless social confidence.